Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Elite City Podcast. I'm pretty sure Blasco is a zombie, unfortunately. I think he may have turned into a zombie. I'm not sure if he was bitten or what happened, but he's not with us today. He's in search of brains. We do have Biddy, though. Hey, Biddy.
Hi.
How's it going, Biddy?
It's going. I'm alive, not a zombie.
Well, that's good. Because I mean, it is spooky season, so if you were a zombie, it would be understandable. If you're going to be a zombie, this is like a good time of the year.
This is your time to shine, zombies.
Because you can fit in, like you can just walk the streets. People are just like, oh, what a realistic costume, until you bite their face.
Abaddon's walking around, you know.
There you go. What is she still in She's still in AEW, isn't she?
She is, but she hasn't been on.
Oh, it's interesting. So my favorite part of today was about an hour before we started recording. You sent me a message saying I didn't watch Collision or Dynamite.
You're not supposed to tell people. No, I've been a very busy lady this week, so I actually had to do actual work today, so I did not get a chance to watch Dynamite.
You didn't have time to watch the 72 hours of quality wrestling television that AEW puts out every week?
No, I have to work for a living.
If it makes you feel better, there's another pay-per-view in December, apparently. You have to work to afford the pay-per-views. That's why you're working. All of your disposable income will go towards AEW pay-per-views.
You know, they're just asking for that stuff to get pirated more than it already is.
They are. If they're gonna charge you $50 or whatever it is every month, yeah, people are not gonna go along with. Maybe they did in like the 90s when you had no choice, but.
Right. I mean, I want to give some money because I love the product, but I ain't got that much money, Tony.
Yeah.
We ain't all billionaires.
Yeah, Tony Khan is like $50. That's nothing. He has no concept of money. So.
That's like a quarter, right?
That's right. I make that in 30 seconds.
Oh.
And the rumored time for it is possibly the worst time to have a pay-per-view.
Oh,
The rumor is December 30th because no one's doing anything around that time of year.
No, not at all.
Everyone just has, first of all, a limited time, and no one's just spent a bunch of money in the previous few weeks. They all have time and money to spend. That's the one thing you know about the holiday season is everybody has a lot of time and money, extra money.
Yeah, of course. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh geez.
Anyway, not to complain because we had some good shows this week.
Did we?
We did. They were very good. Yes. I even watched Rampage, and it was Rampage. But the big news, obviously, of the week was AEW and NXT head-to-head on a Tuesday night. WWE put anyone you've ever heard of on the NXT show. John Cena and Cody and Undertaker, and I thought they resurrected Andre the Giant, but I'm not certain. But they had them all on the show, and yes, they won in the ratings, so good for them. But AEW had a good show as well. It was Title Tuesday, and it was also Tony Khan's birthday, which they mentioned a couple times, so that was nice. It was a good show. I enjoyed it. I know Blasco enjoyed it. He's not here, but he did have something to say, which he sent you, and you were appropriate.
He actually wrote this while he was turning into a zombie, so
this might be his last words as a functioning human.
Yes. So here we go. This is from Blasco. AEW made a statement last night. Yeah, it was last night. They made a statement last night. They are officially the alternative in this era, not the competition. To be competition, you have to be the same thing, and last night proved there are two very different companies in the mainstream. AEW stayed its course and put on a banger episode of Dynamite, but the difference was this was just a normal episode. If this Dynamite aired tonight, it would have been the exact same show. By doing that, Tony Khan planted their flag, and it's not us versus them. It wasn't let's crush the establishment mentality either. It was a team showing off their brand. The AEW locker is team first more than ever now, and that's really starting to show. Is anyone questioning that Nick Wayne at 18 is a major player in a feud between legends? No, he makes sense there with Christian's character. On the other side of the coin, the establishment had to use legends and squash their own brand just so they can win. That sounds like a great environment to be in. So I guess you are punished if they, quote, lose, end quote. Then again, you have AEW working with anyone willing, just more people get chances and fans get more matches. Case in point, did anyone knew Minoru Suzuki or Tomohiro Ishii before AEW? A majority will have said no. Now those guys are stars here. This was fun to watch in real time. My question to you and I, Rick, is Swerve being built as the monster heel to slay babyface MJF? Love you guys. See you next week. Not if you're a zombie.
Yeah, you're only going to get progressively more and more zombie, as far as I know.
He'll just want our brains.
That's right, and we don't have any, so there.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with what he said. I thought of that last night watching the show. Obviously, you did too because you were watching the show. Was that it was an AEW show? Like it did show the difference. And this isn't even a knock on WWE. It showed the difference between the two companies. WWE is more about like moments and individuals and branding and all that stuff. Yeah. Whereas AEW, like they had a buy-in. They're like, oh, we'll have a buy-in before the match, and it was like Eddie Kingston against Minoru Suzuki, which was like that's the least flashy match you could think of to put on, but like that's for their audience. So I liked it. I thought it was a good. They lost, obviously. I assumed they would lose in ratings because it wasn't their regular day. But the show stayed true to what AEW is, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a great show. I mean, thanks Instagram for catching me up a bit.
What I don't know. There's one thing I want to talk about. I don't know if you saw it. We're going to start off talking about MJF and Bullet Club, and I don't know if you saw the controversial segment that aired last night.
I did not.
With Juice Robinson. Given everything that's going on in the world right now, I knew what it was doing. Like, first of all, it was. If you have you heard any of it or seen any of it, or
I actually did not.
Okay, so what it was is Bullet Club was cutting a promo against MJF, feuding about the belt, and Juice Robinson was like, "I'm going to knock you out. I have something for you," and it was a roll of quarters that said Friedman on it.
Oh,
and like I get it because first of all, Juice Robinson has hit people with a roll of quarters before, like unrelated to MJF, and they've mentioned MJF's backstory of like being a teenager and getting quarters thrown at him, and that was like his origin story kind of. So I get that, but like that, first of all, the timing couldn't be any worse for something like that. Like that was even if they wrote it, a week ago or 2 weeks ago or whenever they wrote it, they should have thought, hey, maybe this isn't the time to do that.
Yeah,
because that, like, as I watched it, I was like, I get it, but should you? No, I don't think they should have.
Yeah, the timing is very poor.
And like the other issue I have with it is, well, first of all, MJF has to, before I thought, oh, maybe Jay White will win the title off MJF. But now MJF has to win, because if he doesn't, then it's like the time when Triple H made all those racist comments to Booker T and then just beat him at WrestleMania. Like, if I kind of feel like you're allowed to have heels be just really bad people as long as they eventually lose.
Yeah.
Because if someone's going to come out and do something, blatantly racist or offensive, and then they end up winning, then it's just like, oh yeah, that guy was right. Like,
yeah.
you can't have him win now. He basically has to lose, and he has to lose pretty cleanly. And I don't know where you take Juice Robinson after this, because like, even if you somehow, they're kind of likable, right? The Bullet Club, like, people, like, they're heels, but they're kind of likable heels. And if, like, where do you go after this? Like, oh yeah, that likable racist. Like, you're not going to be able to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not accusing the actor behind the character. I mean the character of Juice Robinson.
Right.
First of all, I don't mean like the person, the people involved. I'm just like, obviously they got this cleared. Like, MJF was fine with it. Like, this wasn't spur of the moment. This was a planned out angle. I get it. But where do you take that character after this? I don't know.
Huh. Yikes, man. I'm surprised MJF was okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, he was on Twitter today talking about how, like, he wants to use this as a way to show that, like, people who act that way are wrong, and that you can overcome bullying. And like, I get it. It's like a noble, I guess it's kind of a noble thing, but I don't know. It seems like, and I'm not even one to say that, like, oh, heels can't be bad. Like, heels heels.
Right, but there's also reading the room to say, and you shouldn't do that stuff when certain things are going on.
Right. It did remind me of the time when WWE had Muhammad Hassan come out with a bunch of guys with ski masks over their faces and like attack the Undertaker, and it was the day of the London bombings.
Ooh.
And like, yeah, even if you plan that in advance, don't do it now.
Right.
Because, like if someone had a gimmick where they were a bad airplane pilot, well, that gimmick's over once 9/11 happens, right? Like there's certain things you just can't do anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I get it, and I don't think that it was like, I get how it's related to the characters. Like MJF has mentioned that story before, and Juice Robinson has used quarters to punch people before. I get how it didn't come out of nowhere, but it was just the wrong time to do it.
Yeah. Well, that's awkward.
Yeah. And I don't know really where they go from here now. Unless, like, obviously MJF has to win. Otherwise, it's just awful. So,
were people complaining on the internet?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's the internet.
Yeah, I know. That was dumb. Never mind.
Were people breathing air today, Biddy? Why, yes, they were. But yeah, I mean, obviously, some people took it too far, being like, the company is, has certain. No, they don't. Like, it's Tony Khan isn't racist as far as I know, but like, it was just really bad timing, and it was something that I think they should have. Even going out, like, even if I said if they wrote it a week ago, even going out there, MJF and Juice Robinson, like going out to the ring should have been like, you know what, maybe don't do that because that's not going to go over well. Even though we planned it and rehearsed it, and maybe just scratch that part.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was uncomfortable, and I don't know what they're going to do, but I hope it is better than, like, otherwise the angle is fine, right? But it's just like, now it's even hard to be like, oh yeah, Bullet Club, they're like kind of cool guys, but like they're not supposed to. Yeah. They can't be anymore, right? Like now they're terrible. So yeah, I don't know. I'm confused and I'm a little worried. But we will see. Moving on, because you have to. John Moxley wasn't cleared yesterday. I don't know if you heard that.
I did hear that.
So he must be very injured to be not, like, he's John Moxley. I feel like he would just try to be cleared desperately. So I feel like he has to have something. Obviously it seems like a concussion or a neck injury or something. So
I mean, concussions are so tricky. Like, obviously, like the way, I mean, at least back when I played derby, like at the beginning of the year, you do called a baseline concussion test. And so if you get your head rocked, then you have to take the same test. And if you don't have the same like answers, then they're like, you can't play until you like clear this.
Right.
So, I mean, it might be different now. I mean, again, that was a good at least 10 years ago, but I mean, that was at least the way, a little rinky-dink roller derby league did it. So I'm sure it's more professional now, but
I mean, I would hope it's more professional now.
Right. But regardless, I'm sure it's still in the same vein. And so, yeah, he probably was feeling okay, but then whatever baseline testing, he didn't pass it. So he's not cleared.
Right. Because they did book the match. So they thought he was going to be okay.
Right.
And then couldn't be. So, and it seems like he's going to be out for a while, because I know it seems like Rey Fenix is also injured and they wanted to get the title off of him. But I mean, if they thought Mox was going to be back in like a week or two, just wait 2 weeks to do the match.
Right.
But they had Orange Cassidy win the title back. So I feel like that means Mox is probably gone they assume he'll probably be gone for a while. And they wanted to just move on to someone who's going to defend the belt every week.
Right. Which, good for him.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. He was the right person to hand it to, because Mox is injured and Phoenix is injured. Like, Orange Cassidy apparently can't be injured. So he's going to keep going.
Yeah, remember that whole angle where it was like, oh, he's so beat up, blah, blah, blah. Well,
yeah. Him and Darby Allin cannot be hurt.
God, yeah, right.
Apparently they cannot. I don't get it.
I saw.
Did you see Darby? The stuff that he's gone through recently,
Yeah, I saw Christian throw him into those stairs. Like, what? How is his spine not broken?
or his arm? Like he landed arm
Yeah,
first once, he landed spot. Like, and they did it several times. Like I don't
he's
know.
he's rubber.
I don't. Yeah, I don't get it. I feel like he's either in constant pain and can hide it really well, or somehow
He's straight edge too. He's not
right.
obnoxious about it like certain
Oh, whoever do you
certain
mean? Whoever do you mean, Biddy?
certain mother punks, but that means he's not even doing drugs or drinking to take the pain away.
Right. No, he's either super good at just dealing with it, or his bones are made of rubber.
Wow. Wowie wow wow.
And another surprising thing, the Orange Cassidy thing surprised me, but another surprising, even more surprising title change in my opinion. Sheeta beats Saraya,
Yes, I saw that.
which I'm happy about. Like I like Sheeta. I was very surprised because Saraya only had like what, one defense.
Yeah.
I know they did it so that she could have her moment in England, and that was great. Like I'm all for that. But I was surprised that Sheeta won it back so quickly.
Right. But yeah, Sheeta's 3-time champ now.
There you go. And Tony Storm came out. Tony
I
Storm came
saw
out during the match, being the new timeless Tony Storm, which is outstanding. And so she attacked Ruby, and so I'm glad that they didn't drop the outcast thing, because it would be a little strange if they just like turned on Tony and abandoned her and she just like moved on with her life.
Yeah.
So I like that they mentioned that. And I don't know if you saw any of it. They did, which I watched it on Fight, as a resident of the United Kingdom. And they had like Tony Storm had a short film, or as she called it, a film, I think it was. And it was like a black and white silent film that aired for like 2 minutes during the show. And when I was watching it, I was thinking, this is really odd. They did it twice. Just have like, she was just like doing like weird acting, like she was pretending to drive a car, and like it was hilarious. But like it was like 2 minutes long, and I was like, that's really weird. But then apparently it was the picture in picture for TVS.
Oh.
Which I think is even funnier, because like then during commercials, like Tony Storm is like fake driving a car, and she's like fake making out with nobody, and then she gets angry and slaps them. But there's nobody else there. It's just her. So like if you haven't seen that, watch it. It's outstanding.
I mean, I'm gonna probably watch the whole show tomorrow.
Yeah. Tony Storm is doing an excellent job with her timeless. She had her debut of tiny timeless Tony Storm on Collision. It was also outstanding. She's great. She has like her facial expressions, her like smeared makeup, her everything about it is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think she's doing a wonderful job. And speaking of Collision, Big Bill and Ricky Starks beat FTR for the tag team titles, which I didn't watch Collision live, and if I had watched it live, I would have been very shocked by this. I was spoiled by our friend Instagram before I watched the show.
Yes, I also was spoiled. I was actually camping and happened to see that come rolling by when I just swiped through Instagram real fast. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was surprised, but I was really surprised.
Of all the people to dethrone FTR, it was them.
Yeah, I was sure that it was going to be like the Young Bucks or something.
I'm glad it wasn't.
I'm definitely glad it wasn't, because first of all, Ricky Starks and Big Bill, like they're doing a great job. Like they deserve it. I like that it was a surprise. I like that I didn't expect it. And I don't want to see FTR against the Young Bucks again. Not that their matches are bad. I just don't want to see it again for a while.
Agreed.
I think Cash Wheeler is probably injured, because in the match they had Big Bill just like throw him through a table, and then he was out for the whole match. And they just beat up Dax and then won. It was kind of a squash, which I was surprised by too, because they threw Cash through a table and then just like beat up Dax for like 5 minutes, and then that was it. Like it was just over, which I was really surprised by. I like it. I think it's great. I love Big Bill. I love Ricky Starks. I am interested to see what happens. Yeah. And the Young Bucks, apparently they won that title thing, right? They're number one contenders.
Yes.
So are they going to win? I don't want them to win.
Oh God, please no.
I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I am not a fan generally of the Young Bucks. I mean, they're fine. I don't dislike.
I appreciate their talent, and
yes.
but it's just they book themselves all the time, and they've won it how many times already? Like,
Right.
it's just, it feels very egotistical, which I know it's wrestling. They're all egotistical to a point, but that just feels like on another level.
I mean, I get the one time when they won it was when I think the Hardys were supposed to win it, and then all that stuff with Jeff happened. So they
Right.
were just like, "Oh, give it to Young Bucks," because like nothing's gonna happen to them. So I get it. Like it's kind of like how they just give the belt to Mox when they
Yeah.
can't. They're just like, "Oh, they're the safe option. Give them the belt. They're not gonna screw up." But yeah, you're right. It does feel like why are they the Ring of Honor 6-man champions, and why are they the number one contenders for the tag? Like I don't want to see them do that. I want to see them do other stuff.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's really, like I said, egotistical, and I guess don't be so blatant about it.
It does also feel like CM Punk's gone. We can book ourselves to win belts again, and then
Yeah,
it's
like, yeah, but again, I definitely feel like that whole situation was a little of a little, well, probably more of A, but definitely B had
yeah.
some to do with it too.
Like I think I mentioned this before or multiple times. Like you shouldn't be flipping out every 10 seconds and assaulting your coworkers. Of course not. But like the butts are probably pretty annoying if they
Oh
want to
yeah.
be. Like I feel like they knew he was just like a short fuse, and they were like, "Hey, what can we do to like make him fly off the handle?" I feel like that's probably what happened. But you're right.
Which, yeah.
I respect them as wrestlers. Like they do a good job in the ring, but they just seem like such jerks. And I know maybe that's their character. Maybe they're good at acting. I don't know. But
I don't know. But yeah.
but
But
yeah,
yeah, I'm kind of over them. And I like FTR, but I'm a little over them too.
yeah, it's a weird situation in AEW because they have a huge roster, which is good because you can always rotate people in and out. If someone gets hurt, you have other options. Like it's a good thing. But there are some people who are on a lot and they could be on half as much and you could put other people on. And I think it would be better.
Yeah.
And well, now that I said that, we're going to skip ahead a little bit. Chris Jericho.
Oh God. Yes.
A lot going on there. Hobbs joining the Don Callis family. I really liked it.
Is that what the again? So that was what that part was about.
Yeah, that's last week when Hobbs came out and attacked
Yeah. Yeah.
them. Yeah, so then now he's with Don Callis. Like Don Callis came out with him, and he was. I think it's great. It's the
I
first
like.
thing.
Yeah. I like that. It gives him more direction, which I think has been part of the problem. He hasn't really had much direction.
Yeah, they've kind of moved him around. He's like, oh, he's in Team Taz, and then he's in QTV's thing, and then like, so maybe this will stick, and
Yeah.
he'll have a character and an angle to go forward with. It's the first thing they've done with the Don Callis family that I actually kind of like, because otherwise I don't really care about the Don Callis family. But like the family, like I care about like Takeshita's cool,
Right.
but I don't care about the group as a group. But I do like that Hobbs is with them. I feel like that makes it a lot better.
I mean, that is a hell of a group too.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
that's
they've kind of got what you need in a faction, right? They've got like the kind of young up and coming guy in Takeshita. They've got like the small sleazy guy, cruiserweight type guy. They've got the big tough guy. They need like a tag team, and then they can be like a pretty stereotypical faction.
yeah.
But I think it was good. He had a match with Jericho. Hobbs had a match with Jericho where he kind of squashed him. Like he beat him up pretty bad, and then he won. And I was really happy that he won because
Good.
I really thought it was going like he's going to beat up Jericho for 10 minutes, and then Jericho is going to like do a surprise roll up and beat him, and that was going to really upset me. I was already planning like an angry rant to have, but then Jericho lost and Hobbs won, so that was fine. What did you think of that chair shot from like 2 weeks ago on Kenny Omega? Because it was a chair shot to the head, which no one really does anymore.
I'm trying to remember.
They had him
Oh
tied up.
yeah,
They had
yeah,
him tied up
yeah.
in the ropes, and the tape kept falling off the ropes.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of cheesy.
The chair shot I was surprised by because chair shots to the head are rightfully banned. It must have been like a gimmick chair, like a weaker chair or a soft.
I
Like
oh,
I don't know.
I do now remember. Yeah, the chair was like dented, so
Yeah,
maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Even if it is a gimmick one, it's just let's not encourage kids to be smacking each other in the head with metal chairs.
Or like other wrestlers, because
Yeah.
anything I know about wrestlers is they're kind of children. They're just like, that guy did it, I want to do it too. And
I
I'm
want to
like,
go through real glass.
yeah, I don't think you need to really encourage wrestlers to do more dangerously stupid things. So maybe Kenny Omega can do it, but I wouldn't want anybody else doing that.
Yeah.
So that was odd. But it was also odd because they wrote off Kenny Omega, like, from Dynamite. They wrote him off for this episode that just aired, with the chair shot being like, he's injured, he's not cleared to fly, so he can't be here. Which, fine, that makes sense. But they also like, oh, the Young Bucks are with him, so that's why they're not coming out to help Jericho. I'm like, why are the Young Bucks? What are they doing? They're just like sitting at Kenny Omega's house, being like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I already said I was 50 times. And then, like, it was a little weird, but I get it. They didn't want the Young Bucks to come out and help Jericho, and they needed a way to explain why they weren't. So
It's
I
just
don't
the
know.
whole Chris Jericho part of this, and with Omega and the Young Bucks, it just feels so forced.
Yeah.
It's not organic at all.
No, it really does feel forced. This feud, I think, would be a lot better if it was the Elite against the Don Callis family and Jericho was doing something else, like taking time off,
like playing with his cool band.
Yeah, or something where he wasn't on TV for a little while. Because that would have been a better feud. Like if it was Takeshita and Sammy and Hobbs against 3 guys in the Elite, that would be good. Like I'd want to see that.
Yes.
And it would give them something to do because the Elite hasn't had much to do in the last little while.
Yeah.
But now they've kind of just shoehorned Jericho in there, and like the connection is they're both from Winnipeg, which is like people who are from the same place aren't necessarily friends. So like it's a little.
It's very, like I said, it's very inorganic and forced.
Definitely. Not inorganic or forced. Really great, actually. Christian Cage and Adam Copeland's interactions so far have been, I think, very good.
I was watching last week's Dynamite with my friend who does not like wrestling, and that part came on, and my friend goes, "What, is he gonna like slug him or something?" And I'm like, "Just wait." And they do the hug, and then Christian, "Go F yourself." My friend was like, "Whoa." I'm like, so yeah, that just, oh man, Christian is just the ultimate heel on another level.
Yeah, and he's like, he can say, like, when we're talking about Juice Robinson saying awful things, but like Christian can say pretty awful things, like about people's dead parents, but like he's such an over the top, like, cartoon villain sort of, that it feels okay.
Yeah.
Like he's clearly like, just like, I think Adam Copeland called him like a Bond villain. He is. He's like, he wears the turtleneck and he just like has an idol, and he seems like a movie villain. So it works for me.
Well, and I mean, he's not like, it's not like someone's dad died 3 days ago and he's like, he never loved you. Like,
right.
It's not like these are super raw.
Right. I saw someone say Brian Pillman Jr. left AEW at exactly the right time. Because Christian would be coming for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great. I love them. I think they're gonna slow burn this Christian Copeland feud and like let it ride out. And I think that's the right call.
Yes, as they should. Like squeeze every bit of it you can.
Yeah.
Man, and what a ride for these two, they're both going to retire probably in the next year or two or whatever, and to be able to go out like this for both of them.
It's not even like a nostalgia run. Like I love the Hardys, but like you can say that they're kind of like on a last tour nostalgia run sort of thing, right? They're just like, they're clearly, their best days are behind them. Whereas Christian and Copeland, like they're still at the top. Like they're still at the top of their game. And they can go out on a really high note with like a really cool angle between two guys who've been friends for their whole lives, basically.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, how special it is for them as like not just professional wrestlers, but as like friends that long, like to be able to do this together. And oh man, that's so dope.
It's really cool. And it's from what he said is it's part of the reason. I mean, the major reason why Adam Copeland came to AEW was
Yeah.
to be able to do that. So that's really cool. And it's also what I also found was really cool is that they're finally, this is the first time I think, as far as I can remember, that they've ever presented them as any wrestling companies presented them as equals, if not Christian's a little bit higher up in the food chain.
Is
Because
it? Yeah.
they've always been presented as like Adam Copeland Edge was like the star and Christian was his buddy. And like they've never really been presented as equals. Maybe when they first showed up and they didn't really have personalities, they were equals. But like as soon as Edge started getting a push, it was just like, oh yeah, he's the star. And they pushed him rightfully. Like I'm not even saying they shouldn't have pushed him, but they kind of ignored Christian for a long time. So
Huh.
they're getting to be
I mean, I
equals
remember
now.
watching them as tag team, in the late 90s, early 2000s, but it's a little bit hazy.
Yeah, I mean, before they hit it really big, they were presented as like a team. Or I mean, they were presented as brothers initially, as like a team of brothers who were equals. But as soon as like Edge started picking up in terms of popularity, they kind of just rode with that.
Okay.
Like Matt and Jeff Hardy. Like
Yeah.
obviously Jeff was always presented like they were a team, but Jeff was always presented as the star of that team. So it's really cool. I think it's really great. And if this is all they do, like if they only feud with each other and then do this for 2 years and then retire, like that's cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
They don't even like Adam Copeland was talking about like all these dream matches, like him against Kenny Omega, whatever. And maybe that would be cool to see in the ring. But I would much rather just see them do what they're doing now because it's been great so far.
Yeah.
I just want them to ride this one out as long as possible. They haven't even mentioned yet that Adam Copeland never knew his father, which is actually true. It's real. So,
Oh, don't worry, it's coming.
I'm sure they have that ready to be used when
they're waiting for the perfect moment.
Yeah. So that's been fun. And Blasco was right with his little statement. Like Nick Wayne has been fitting in really well with this, and he works like for the angle that like he's a young kid whose dad passed away and he's hanging out with Christian. It works.
Yeah.
And they've even, I think I've said before, they care about WWE history more than WWE cares about its history because WWE will like retcon everything to fit whatever their current story is. Right?
And that's what happens when you have one of the biggest wrestling nerds in the world running a company.
Right, exactly. Because they've even mentioned, Adam Copeland last week mentioned that like, oh, you have a group with you and they're only gonna stay with you until they've learned everything they need and then they're gonna turn on you.
Yeah.
Which, if you haven't watched WWE, he had his group. He started a group like 2 years ago or whatever it was called the Judgment Day. That was like Damian Priest and someone. I don't remember who the other guy was.
Edge did?
Edge did. He started a group in WWE and that's what happened. He was like, I'm going to breed these guys to be like the future of wrestling, and they turned on him.
I got you. Yeah, I've heard of Judgment Day.
Yeah, that's like it's Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio, and then now. But essentially, that's what happened. Like he was like, oh, there are guys who I'm going to bring up in their future of wrestling, and then they turned on him, and he was alluding to that same thing happening with Christian, and Christian pointing out that like this week, he's like, no, I'm a better leader than you. That's why they're not going to turn on me. Like it's great. It works on like multiple levels. You can tell that like this is an angle that they both really, really care about and have written really well. So I love it.
That makes me wonder if Jack Perry comes back, if he's going to get back with Christian. That would make sense.
It would. It really would.
And I think it would be great.
Yeah. And apparently, go ahead.
Especially since, Jack has that nasty streak going on right now. I mean, that would be perfect.
Yeah, it would be great if he came back and he was like, you know what, Christian, you were right all along. Like you were the right person for me. You were like, I couldn't see it at the time. that would be great.
Yeah.
I think that would be really good. Apparently his suspension is over, but he's just not back on TV yet.
Where'd you hear that at?
I don't know, some wrestling rumor on the internet. And those are real.
I was just going to say, well, that's gospel.
Those are reliable.
Yeah.
I pointed it out on the Elite City Blue Sky feed. If you are on Blue Sky, follow us.
All
Nick
5 of you.
Hausman. Do you know Nick Hausman, the journalist, like quote unquote journalist, who was he's the one who started all this with CM Punk backstage. He's the so you fancy yourself a journalist. He's the journalist that
Oh.
CM Punk was talking to. Apparently they've bonded over the fact that Colt Cabana is no longer Nick Hausman's friend either. So
You're not our friend anymore.
so all the like Punk stuff, whenever you hear like sources close to CM Punk, it's CM Punk talking to Nick Hausman. That's the general feeling.
Oh.
So Nick Hausman wrote an article, I think it was like October 6th or October 5th, being like CM Punk in talks to return to WWE. And then on October 10th, like 5 days later, he wrote another article going, CM Punk reportedly not in talks to return to WWE.
Oh.
Like, you can't do that. You can't,
Wow.
you can't write one thing and then write the complete opposite thing a few days later and not mention the first thing. Like, what are you doing? So yeah, that's the level. That's the level of journalism that we have in wrestling. So for all we know, Jack Perry is cleared, not cleared, suspended, not suspended. He might be dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's dead. We don't know, right? If Meltzer says he's dead, then the next day Sean Ross Sapp's going to come out and go, he's actually not dead. And so, yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on a rant about wrestling journalism. That's a subject for another podcast. But another thing that I really liked, going back to Dynamite, Swerve and Hangman had a really good match.
I heard this was a banger.
It was a really, really good match. Swerve seems like Blasco mentioned, Swerve is positioned to be a top heel. I don't know if he's going to be the guy who beats MJF, but they are positioning him as like a top. He's beating people. He's doing a great match. He's doing a great job.
I mean, I say it every time I watch him. I'm like, he's so cool.
Yeah. And now he had a match. Sorry, the Swerve and Hangman wasn't this week on Dynamite. It was Collision. I don't remember when it was. Oh, sorry, it was Wrestle Dream. But then Swerve and Danielson had a match this week on Dynamite. Sorry, that was really good. And Hangman got involved because I don't know if you remember the Wrestle Dream match. Swerve hit Hangman with Prince Nana's like crown thing and knocked him out. In this match, he tried to do that again to Danielson, and Hangman came out and stopped him.
Okay.
So they're obviously going to have another match because they also had a brawl at the end of the show. And I think that's great. I think they work really well together. That match they had was really good. And I don't know, I think Hangman might win this time because Swerve won last time. And Hangman needs a win too.
And we got to have that rubber match, baby.
That's right. You got to have the third one so you can call it Swerve Hangman 3 and put it up on a poster. But yeah, I love Swerve. I think he's great. I think he might be, if he's not the guy to take out MJF, he's moving to like main event level.
Yeah. He's just like, we talk about MJF, and yeah, Swerve's kind of the whole package. He can talk, he can do it all.
He has like we mentioned before how he's the coolest guy there. Like it's hard to be cool if you're not actually cool. Like you can't really fake being cool. Like Scott Hall, Razor Ramon was cool, or like The Rock at the beginning of his popularity, he was just cool, right? Like Swerve just has that. Like you pay attention to what he does because he looks like a guy you want to pay attention to what he does because like he just seems like that. So he definitely has it, and
right.
Yeah,
he's an it boy.
Yes, maybe they will do a feud. Maybe they will have an MJF Swerve feud. That would be really good.
That would be really good. Yeah, I'll pay money to see that.
Yeah, so if that's December, maybe that's how they get you to plunk down some money in December.
Damn it!
That's the thing. We complain.
Damn you, Tony Khan!
We complain that AEW has like too many shows or too many pay-per-views or whatever, but like they're always good.
Yeah.
Like they're always
they
good.
have that. I can't even think of a stinker.
No, like even like I think it was, what was the one this year that had like the 4-way main MJF and the 4 Pillars main event, which I thought was a good show, but it was like it was Double or Nothing.
Maybe I can't even remember which is which. I'm like, I actually did watch it, but I just
that was the one that like people were like, oh, it was good, but it wasn't great. but like it was still good. Like I remember watching that thinking like, no, I enjoyed that. I had a good time.
Yeah.
I can't think of a time where I watched an AEW show and been like, oh, that kind of sucked. Like a
No.
pay-per-view or like a big event.
No, I can't either.
I
I
don't
mean,
think it's happened.
there's been a couple Dynamites that have been a little like, okay, it wasn't
Yeah.
as exciting as usual, I suppose, but it was still entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
I'm not mad I watched it.
right. I mean, there was like, I don't know, a year or so ago when they were really pushing ROH a lot where I was kind of just like, eh. But like
Yeah.
they were still fine. Like they still weren't bad. But like in terms of big shows, like the pay-per-views or like when they have a Grand Slam or like a Winter is Coming or something that's a a special show, they've always done a great job at those. So they are going to get us to plunk down our money, I guess.
Uh, every time we say I'm not gonna do it, and then it's like, oh.
Okay, fine. Like,
Well, shit.
speaking of always good, to continue my attempt at segues here today. Bryan Danielson. I'm
Well,
just gonna mention Bryan Danielson. I don't have any particular reason to mention Bryan Danielson, but Bryan Danielson, he's good.
I mean, I think at least every other day in our chat, we're always like, man, he's just the best.
He is. He's outstanding. Like he had
Yeah.
the match with Swerve on Dynamite, which was great. Now he's a number one contender, so he's facing Christian on Collision this week.
No,
Also going to be great because
that's yeah.
and last week on Collision, he faced Kyle Fletcher from Aussie Open, who I always knew was like he's like the young up and comer of Aussie Open, but awesome match if you get a chance to watch it. So good. And like it was obviously we've said before, Danielson could wrestle me and it would be fine because
Right.
he's just so good. But like Kyle Fletcher looked great in that match too. And I don't
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
go ahead.
he's every time I've seen him, Kyle Fletcher, he's really talented. I'm
Yeah.
always like, wow, that kid stands out to me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so I'm not surprised it was a great match. I'm glad it was a great match.
Yeah, you should watch Collision just for that. Like the rest of it was good, but like you don't have to watch it really. But like the Danielson Kyle Fletcher match,
Yeah.
really good. Danielson is like, I think his arm's still bothering him because he wrestles a bit differently. But
that's how good he is that
yeah,
he can do that and still be ridiculously awesome.
yeah, like we've said before, he can do. I know we always do this every week, talk about how great he is, but like he's really great. He can do every type of match. He can do like a technical match. He can do a high flying sort of thing. He can do a brawl. He can do a hardcore match. He can do like comedy segments. He can do everything.
Yeah.
He's very, very good at a lot of stuff. And it's him and Christian are going to be fun. I hope they also do a promo before because that would be fun
yeah. Oh yeah. Amateur. Haven't heard that one in a while.
He's great because he's a heel. He can be a heel. He can be a face. He can be whoever he needs to be for that segment. Like he can be a heel against a face, and then if he's wrestling a face, he can be a face against a heel, and he can go back and forth, and it makes sense. Like he's just very good at all aspects of wrestling and sports entertainment because he was also really good in WWE. So good for him.
Way to go, Daniel or Bryan Daniels.
There you go. That's it. You got it. Good job, Biddy.
Whoops, I slipped up a bit.
You JR'd that one a little bit there. Now, I wanted to mention this actually. We were all sure that JR was going to be the first one to call Adam Copeland Edge. He did not. He went through an entire episode of Collision calling the match and didn't call him Adam Edge at all. He must have had a paper in front of him, like in giant capital letters.
Wow.
Because he didn't do it once, but Renee did.
Oh, did she?
Yes. Renee.
I mean, the guy
Edge.
said what 30 years. I mean, you gotta.
Yeah, you can't really blame anyone, especially anyone who worked with them in WWE.
100,000% shocked that JR was not the one to do it.
I know, but he didn't. He did a good job.
Wow.
Also, Renee on the, I think she seemed like she was a little like, because I really do think that they tried to clear Mox and he wasn't cleared, and I think she was kind of a little thrown off by that too, because she did like a pre-show with RJ City for Dynamite, and she seemed a little off, and I that's understandable if that's why she was a little off.
Yeah. Oh, I did
Um,
see Eddie Kingston come out and say hi and high five her and then flip RJ off.
Eddie Kingston is a treasure. He's outstanding. I love him.
He's an American treasure.
But yeah, he really is. He's like,
He's America's sweetheart.
if you were gonna pick a guy to like represent America, I would say Eddie Kingston is a pretty good guy to do it. He's like, he's tough. He's like not in the greatest shape, but he's good enough shape. And he's like, he's kind of crude, but he's also sensitive. He works. Yeah, he's a good representative.
Yeah.
He's your guy.
He'll tell you F you while like helping to like dig your car out of the snow or
there
something.
you go. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like if you asked AI to like create a stereotypical New Yorker, it would create Eddie Kingston, and it would be very accurate, and I would love it. But yes, in addition to calling Adam Copeland Edge, Renee also called the Bang Bang Gang the Gang Gang Bang, which
The gang gang bang.
which I thought was great. And then they mentioned it later because the next time she mentioned them, she very slowly said the Bang Bang Gang, and RJ City laughed. But yeah, the Gang Gang Bang would work.
Oh my goodness.
They sell that shirt that says Bang Bang Gang on it. Who buys that shirt?
Oh. I'm sure lots of like 14-year-old boys do.
That's true. You're right.
That's exactly who's buying it. Look, I'll go to the show in November and it'll be like a bunch of 40-year-old men wearing them.
Yeah, you're right. And then you'll be able to buy one shirt from one wrestler.
If they even have shirts.
If they even have shirts, they'll just have like AEW like logo shirt, and that's
yeah,
it. That's what they do. Before we go, the other thing I wanted to mention is Wardlow's back.
Yay!
What did they do with Wardlow? Because right now, 2 weeks ago he squashed Griff Garrison, and then this week he squashed what's his name, Matt Sydal. He just comes out, hits a bunch of power bombs, and leaves.
He squished Matt Sydal.
Yes. He just came out and like power bombed him like 5 times and then walked away.
See, this is exactly what he was doing before, and then
right.
Like why? What? I don't get it.
Maybe they're trying to like
somebody there has to have a good idea for him.
Yeah, it's weird that they haven't, because
like I don't get what I
get that maybe they're trying to rebuild him now, being like, remember when you all liked him when he just came out in power? But like, yeah, but what are you gonna do after that?
But everyone
like
got kind of bored of that pretty fast.
Yeah, and like the pops are not there. Like
right.
people cheer, but they're not like, it's not like where it was before. Like it's not like people are psyched to see him come out and do it. They're just like, I think everyone's kind of like, okay, but then what do you do after he hits 5 power bombs?
Right. And like that's, when he did, I think it was a moonsault, what I forget what pay-per-view or whatever it was. It's like, oh my gosh, he can actually, he can get up there and do that kind of thing. That's exciting, but like he never did it again, and it's just boom boom Powerball or Powerbomb. Powerball. I believe the Powerball in Pennsylvania is up to like 1.4 billion.
Well, maybe Wardlow wins that, and then he doesn't have to book him anymore because he'll be a billionaire himself. What do you like? I don't know what to do with him, because I mean they clearly don't know what to do with him. But like we've talked before, how they seem to not know how to push anyone who's like big.
Right, but now you've got Big Bill that's doing something, and now you've got Hobbs with
Don Callis.
Yeah, like, so
do you put him with someone then? You give him, like, they tried to give him Arn Anderson, which I thought was always kind of terrible.
Yeah, Arn Anderson ain't that, like,
that didn't really work.
I don't know. There's got to be somebody that knows what to do with him there.
Yeah, he probably needs a manager, I'm guessing. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's not much of a talker.
Or he needs to be in a group.
Right.
But I don't know. Like the last time he was really cool was like when he turned on MJF.
Right.
And he was really cool for a little while after that. Then he won the TNT title, and then like it was just bad.
Yeah. They booked that like poop, and like, yeah, I don't know.
But it is kind of like a big guy thing, because like Hobbs up until now hasn't really done much. Miro hasn't done much. Lance Archer hasn't done much. Like,
yeah,
Samoa Joe's done a lot, but that's just because Samoa Joe is he's unique, right? He has a personality. Even Big Bill, like maybe it's none of the other guys, but like Miro can cut promos, so it's not like he it's not like they're all just big guys who can't cut promos because Miro can, and what's he doing really?
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
just very odd.
It is very odd. Maybe because CJ Perry said that she was going to manage someone if Miro wasn't going to be with her. Maybe she manages Wardlow.
I mean, that might be good and get him in a feud with Miro.
Yeah, that would work.
Then you got them both. And like everyone obviously loved when Hobbs, or was it Hobbs? Yeah, Hobbs and Miro went at it and the meet. So like
that was fun, yeah.
That was a blast. So like, yeah, let's get some meat on meat again.
Yeah, that'd actually be really cool. I would watch that.
Yeah. I think that's a
good way to go. And they're both not doing much now, so that would work.
Right. And it would give them both direction. You've got the extra spiciness because CJ's Miro's lady. So let's do it. Come on, Tony.
There you go. And we'll give that another idea. We're giving Tony Khan for free. But if you want to just hire us, Tony Khan, and just pay us a bunch of money to talk about wrestling with you, we'll do it.
Tony, I'm really cute. I mean,
I'm not, but I know a lot about wrestling. So if you want to talk about
we're gotta take us as a team. He's the brains and I'm the beauty.
There you go.
I'm the beauty and the charm. Let's go.
There you go. Yeah. We can talk about wrestling stuff and you can, interview people. I don't know. You're good at that.
Yeah, I do that a bit.
There you go. So anything else to add, Biddy?
No, I'm hopefully this week, after this Hell Week is over, I'll be able to watch the shows regularly, or at least, Dynamite and half a Collision like I usually do.
Yeah.
This week was just nuts. Yeah, this week was just nuts.
Well, I was
camping, and then I've got a giant work thing to do, so it's crazy in Biddy land right now.
Well, at least you're not a zombie.
Nope. Got that going for me.
So you got that. So there you go. Yeah, I've got nothing else. I don't even have a question. Do you have a question? Come up with a question to ask people. Question of the week.
Well, I guess we can go with Blasco saying, are they setting it up where Swerve might be the one to dethrone MJF?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah. They also had a promo from Samoa Joe this week where he said he was going to come and take on MJF.
So, yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Boy, too. MJF's got a lot of people gunning for him.
He does.
Including the Bang Bang Gang.
The Gang Bang, yes.
The Gang Bang.
The Gang Bang Gang, or whatever
it's only a matter of time before someone's
going to call them the Gang Bang Gang. They definitely will. They had some, before we go, they had some Adam Cole, like Roderick Strong segments this week that were like, they're fine. But I'm a little worried that's a bit played out at this point.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It was funny because I don't know if you saw last week, Roderick Strong had that giraffe that he was holding.
Yes.
He had a stuffed giraffe. Anyway, the stuffed giraffe was back this week, and Adam Cole's like, what's with the giraffe? And he's just like, the giraffe is the most neck strong animal there is. Look at its neck. Like that. I like that a lot. That was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, good times.
Yeah.
Good wrestling. Everyone's having a good time, except for Blasco. He's having a good time. Zombies might enjoy just the brain eating.
They love brains.
So there you go. So everyone's having fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for listening, everyone. Like, share, subscribe, follow. X, if that still exists. I don't know. We're on everything else, though. We're on Blue Sky and Mastodon and all the splinter groups. EliteCityPod.com is where you find all of our stuff. So follow us there. Share, rate. That helps a lot. So other than that, thanks a lot. Bye.